Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first ever Just Two Guys podcast.
Today on the show, we'll be talking about Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, and Fantastic Four. Hello, Internet! First, let's get introductions out of the way. My name is Noah.
And my name is Nick.
And we are two people.
Yep.
I don't think we have much in the way of credentials.
Nope, we're alive, and that is about it, honestly.
Yeah, we're just two guys, but we like to get together every once in a while and watch some movies.
We do like movies.
Yes.
We really do.
Yeah, movies, among other things, but we like movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other night, every once in a while, we have this kind of tradition that we do a double feature whenever some movies come out. And I think, what was the last two movies that we saw?
The last two movies we did a double feature on were Ex Machina and The Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yes. I remember that now. That was a couple months ago. And we really liked it. Those were two good movies, very different.
Mm-hmm.
But we're like, hey, a couple new movies are coming out this weekend.
Yep.
So let's go see some. And so we decided to see two movies. Although I think only one turned out to be a real movie.
Yep. And the other one, I don't really know what to call it. But
we'll try to figure that out.
Dive into it, definitely.
Mm-hmm. The first that we saw Thursday night was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Yep.
Now, I've only seen one Mission Impossible movie. That was Mission Impossible 3. How many of them have you seen going in?
I have seen 3 of them. I've seen the second one, the third one, and the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've actually ever seen the first one. So I don't really know if that ever took a part in like the overall thing of it, but I've seen pretty much most of them.
Yeah, and also, as like someone basically knew going in, I wasn't confused at all. I knew what was happening.
Right.
I kind of got the
essential
idea.
You kind of expect to know what you're getting into, like with like Mission Impossible movies, like Bourne Identity movies, like James Bond movies. You kind of know like the gist of it. Like there's going to be action, stuff's going to happen.
Yeah. It's not too plot heavy, so going in. But it's not dumb either. I think I speak for both of us when I say that. I think we really liked this movie, right?
I did really like it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's kind of a movie to turn your brain off to, kind of like Fast and Furious movies. Kind of a fun movie, turn your brain off.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of with Mission Impossible 2 action. And kind of see what Tom Cruise does. He's like in his mid-50s or something like that.
Yeah, he's like 53, 52.
He's still doing this. Like, he still does all of his own stuff.
Watching this, that was one of the most impressive things. I really like movies with practical, kind of real effects. That's why I especially liked this year's Mad Max Fury Road. Probably my favorite this year. But a lot of practical, physical stunts. Right. And in this movie, a lot of practical, physical stunts, all done, apparently, by Tom Cruise. Oh. Which is really impressive when you think about it. Freaking 50-something-year-old man who looks like he's still in his like late 20s, doing all these crazy stunts. Like I was reading comments on like a trailer or some articles, and it's like you were saying he's a vampire. Tom Cruise is a vampire because he looks so young.
Basically,
yeah, it's pretty crazy. But no, very fun, very adventurous. I really liked the movie. It had a few issues. I think the movie was a little too long. I think that it was like one action sequence too long is what I was saying.
Yeah, because I think the runtime was about, I want to say a little over 2 hours, around there. And like you said, like maybe if they would have taken like one action sequence, or maybe they just like combined 2 of them into a smaller one, like back to back, it would have worked. But it was kind of like, here's the beginning and the plane. Spoilers if you listen to this and haven't seen either of these movies.
Oh yeah, we're going to get into spoilers.
But, like, it goes from that, and then it goes to talking about, like, disbanding the IMF to, like, another action sequence, and then more talking. So, like, maybe if they could have condensed, like, maybe 1 or 2 of the action scenes together, so it would be around 150 movie, 2 hour flat.
Yeah, and it's hard because I liked all the action scenes. There wasn't one that's like, oh, this one's really dragging on too long.
It's like you really don't need it in it, so it still worked.
No, they were all good. And my favorite was probably the very first one. Again, spoilers, so enough of that. The first minute of the movie is that scene that everyone saw from the trailers with the airplane and Tom Cruise hanging on. That was really cool. You're just like in the middle of it.
Yeah, you just get plunged like straight out of the gate into the action.
Yeah, and I really like that. I really like that. It's just like, okay, we're just right in the middle of it, right in the middle of the action. Exciting stuff, plain stuff happening, and it's not really connected at all to the rest of the movie. It's just like it just kind of gets you ramped, gets you excited.
It's kind of like, all right, we throw you right into an action sequence. Like you said, it's not really related to the rest of the story. They're just doing a mission before they become disbanded, whatnot. But you're just thrown right into it. It's not like an introduction movie or like slow people talking. No. Like conversation. It's like boom,
it sets the mood. Yeah, it sets the mood. Like bam, action movie. Get excited. Have fun.
Yeah.
Don't think too much.
Right.
But at the same time, it wasn't overly stupid. I didn't feel offended.
No, it's not like, all right, this is just a dumb movie to watch for the action. It's like there are some things like you kind of have to think about, like, oh, who. Like the IMF, and then like who's actually working for whose side in the movie. So you do have to think. It's not like I'm going to sit there and stare at the screen for 2 hours and drool. So,
some movies.
Yeah, but I mean it was still a really good movie.
I liked it. And Tom Cruise reprises his role as Action Man.
Yeah.
In the 5th installment of the Mission Impossible series. It's cool. I like series that apparently, again, I haven't seen any of them but 3. Apparently the series has gotten better though over time.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed like when the first and second one came out, it's kind of like it's okay, but like as of late, like the Mission Impossible movies, and same with kind of like Fast and the Furious franchise and other franchises like that, like they gain more momentum.
Yeah.
The further that they go, so it's kind of cool to see something that not too many people used to watch, and now people are going to go see stuff like that. Yeah. So it's kind of...
And so that's also kind of the opposite of how it was a few years back. Like, the more sequels a movie had, usually it loses steam.
Yeah.
And nowadays, they're kind of gaining momentum.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty much just for, like, a nitpick amount of franchises. And the rest of them, like you said, like, they do kind of just drop out. Like, you're like, oh, we have the 4th movie in this franchise, and everyone's like, why should I care?
Yeah.
But like I said, for a few, definitely it works.
Yeah, and apparently they're going to be making more.
Yeah, I heard that they already were slated for the 6th one already. So
yeah, they're not wasting any time.
No, they're just right into it. While Tom Cruise is still young,
quote unquote,
and still able to do his own stunts.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was really cool seeing him do his own thing. I don't know how many takes it took for him to do that airplane scene, like 4 or 5 or whatever.
I heard it was like something like that.
And him racing around on that crotch rocket, like going who knows how fast, no gear on.
Insane. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's got his Hawaiian button-up shirt on, like fluttering in the wind behind him.
His hair doesn't fall out. Yeah. Also, we noticed in the theater that when he's on the motorcycle, he like scuffs his knee and he like kind of looks down for a second, and we both think that wasn't planned.
Yeah, I don't think it, like, when he did it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they must have just been like, yeah, we don't need you to do it again. That looks fine. So we'll just do that.
Kind of makes it look more realistic.
Yeah.
It's like it didn't distract me at all. It's just like one quick like millisecond thing where it's like, did he mean to scuff his knee like that? I don't know. Just a little detail. The rest of the cast, I think, did a fine job. We got Jeremy Renner. He was all right. He didn't, have a huge amount to do. He was more kind of like comic. No, he wasn't comic relief, but he was more like kind of.
I kind of feel like in this movie he was kind of more of like the parent, like not the strict parent.
Yeah.
He was the one that's like, all right, Ethan, we need to pull you back and stuff like that. Like he was watching over everyone. It's like we can't do this. Kind of like the guideline, like clean to the book kind of person. In the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Simon Pegg, he's really good.
Yeah.
I really liked him.
Definitely.
He's always fun.
Now, I was gonna say I've always liked him since like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, all those kinds of movies. So I've always liked him. But,
he always brings. He's a very likable actor. Yeah. We got Ving Rhames, because Ving Rhames is in these movies.
Say, Ving Rhames is there for.
He's there. He didn't do a bad job. He was just there.
Yeah, he's there.
With his little hat.
He's hacking stuff in his
That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah,
You got the cool macho black guy.
He does what he does.
That's okay. And then Rebecca Ferguson, a brand new person to the series, I suppose. She plays kind of the leading lady. I'd say she's like the secondary most important character behind Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
She was actually kind of a big deal in the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, for the most part, we were talking about this, like, we really didn't feel that Tom Cruise was like the main character in this. Like, you would have like a cut with him in it, and then it would go to her, and we don't know if she's working with him or against her or with her government or her agency or whatnot. So I think it focused more on her.
Yeah, her character, like Ethan Hunt is Tom Cruise's character in these movies, and he's kind of like, I'm not comparing them directly, like Indiana Jones, where they have the same purpose, where you kind of want to be him.
Right.
So he doesn't have a huge amount of character because you're kind of in a way pretending to be him during the movie because he is action man, he's cool guy, he is Tom Cruise. Yeah. We all want to be Tom Cruise.
Like, he's there for most of the action, and like at the end of the day, you know that he's going to get it done. If he doesn't, well, there goes everything.
Although I would have liked, like, again, really liked this movie. I did have a few problems though, so I'll get into nitpicks. Okay. The villain seemed a bit generic. He didn't seem all that. I mean, he looked kind of weird, but I mean, he didn't seem all that sinister. The stakes weren't incredibly high.
Right. It's kind of just like I was saying about the Avengers: Age of Ultron, where it's Ultron really wasn't a super powerful, dominant villain. But he had a bunch of minions and henchmen to do it, and I kind of felt like it was like this too.
Yeah.
In the Mission Impossible movie, where he just had a bunch of his guys until like the very end of the movie, where he kind of comes out on his own and has to.
Yeah, he just starts like running down the street chasing after Tom Cruise. Yeah.
But I mean, like, he wasn't like the guy behind like every single thing that happened. He just ordered all of his.
Yeah, he never. In some movies, you want to have like that direct, like, you know, ooh, this guy's antagonizing you, but I did like one of my favorite scenes was the very after the opening scene with the plane, where Tom Cruise is in the record store and he's getting his new mission. I liked that, you know, he's getting his little details from it was like a record player. Yep. It's like, ooh, Ethan Hunt, your mission is if you choose to accept it. And then suddenly it's like, oh, it's the Syndicate, where's this kind of shadowy, semi-rogue government organization, the bad guys in the movie. And it's like, oh crap, and then he gets locked up in like a glass box, and then the main bad guy, I'll just call him bad guy, I don't know, he shoots his like secretary or his a woman,
the poor DJ chick,
the store chick, I don't know, but you know that guy's like, oh, this guy's a big prick. Right. And you feel bad for Ethan Hunt, and he's in a moment of weakness and vulnerability because he can't do anything. He can't get out of the box. So I like that a lot.
You can just watch.
Whereas in the rest of the movie, I didn't really feel scared for him at all. I mean, like you said, we know that at the end of the movie, he's going to get the job done. But of course, you know, you want to have that little bit of suspense. Probably the one scene that got closest to that was probably the underwater scene. I like that, like where he sinks and he's out of oxygen. You're like, oh, how's he going to get out of this? Oh. And, you know, he eventually does, but I liked it. It was tense.
But he had help to get out of there.
He did have help from Rebecca Ferguson.
Yep.
And I really liked her. She was good. I'd never seen her before. Apparently she's like a Swedish actress, but she's probably going to get work after this, including the other...
So, let me ask you, what were some of the things that you kind of felt, besides like runtime and action scenes, like what you think could have been better or like you kind of had a problem with?
Yeah, probably my biggest one was the runtime. Just like, I really like this movie, but it's almost too much of a good thing. Right. Like, yeah, just take out one of the action sequences, just tighten it up a little bit. I would have really liked it. Now again, like I was saying, Ethan Hunt is not a very complex character on purpose, and that's fine. He doesn't need to be. But even in like the modern day James Bond movies, which are probably the most comparable, he goes through a little bit of an internal struggle, or they try to do a little bit of characterization. I felt at the end Ethan Hunt didn't really change at all as a character or even learn something. Again, fine, not a deal breaker by any means, but probably that.
Yeah.
And what about yourself?
I mean, it kind of showed like at the end where he's like, you let Benji go or else we're all going to blow up, where he cares more about his team than he does for himself. So, and going back to the beginning where the girl in the record shop gets shot, like he knew her, like semi-partially through the agency, and like you said, like he couldn't do anything about it. He was stuck there. He can just watch.
Yeah.
And that kind of hit, but when he had all of the numbers in his head at the end, he's like, you won't break me, and that just shows that he will die rather than give it to you, and he would put himself in the line of fire, and he would prefer and care about everyone else.
Yeah, he's a good kind of noble character.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of flaws.
Right. No.
So that again, that kind of trumps him up kind of above human status into superhero action man, which again is fine. But it's funny. I forgot about the whole like, oh, I destroyed the code, but I remembered them all. I like that. There's a lot of kind of not huge plot twists, but I like it. It takes its twists and turns. It's adventurous. It's fun, and that's probably the one thing I liked most about this movie is it's able to capture that sense of action, adventure, fun. Probably the biggest word being fun. This movie was fun without being dumb. In a lot of movies nowadays, like one that we know is not fun.
Which we'll obviously talk about later. What was a part in the movie that you maybe kind of felt predictable? Because I talked to you about this last time.
Yeah, okay.
When Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg fly off of the staircase in the car, and then they flip 1 billion times and still survive, and then the bad guy gets off his motorcycle, walks up to him, and here comes Jeremy Renner and his white 4-door tourist guy truck that he has and hits him. I was like, that's kind of predictable.
Yeah, there's a moment where the whole scene I was just thinking in like the party with the Prime Minister, it's like, oh, he's wearing a mask. He's wearing a mask. And I just saw that coming, but that's like, that's fine.
Right.
Also, by the way, the actor who played the Prime Minister, I forget his name, but it was almost seemed like kind of like an in joke. It was Tom Hollander. There's a movie called, oh gosh, I can't remember, but he plays kind of a nitwit British politician.
Right.
And but by no means was he like, he's kind of like a minor kind of like politician guy in that movie. But it was really funny to see him be the Prime Minister. It almost seemed like kind of an inside joke. And also he played it kind of serious and straight. But side note, it was pretty funny.
I was gonna say, but at the same time, you kind of felt his character was kind of in the dark, where he's like, oh, I thought I didn't let the syndicate go any further than this, so he was just kind of left in the dark.
Very, very minor character, but he did his job. He did what he needed to do. Oh man, it's driving me crazy what that movie was. Doesn't matter.
What about you were talking about how you liked at the end when Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson didn't kiss? When you were like,
I like that.
When you're like, it's not so cliche where they kiss and then she drives off.
Yeah, obviously there's an attraction there because she is, like I said, she's like the secondary prime character, and she was also obviously kind of the sex appeal, because you gotta have that in there. But it wasn't like gross. It wasn't like really they pushed it and it was in your face like raw boobs, raw butt shot, gratuitous butt shot. I thought it was handled very maturely, surprisingly. I like that. It would have been way too cliche if they'd kissed at the end, like so many movies do. So I like that. They tease it. Maybe they'll go. Actually, I'm sure she'll probably appear in the next one.
See that? All right. So if you had to rate this 1 out of 10, what would you give it? And like, let's say if you're just a casual watcher, would you just go to the movies to see it on the big screen, or would you just maybe wait?
Well, out of 10 being the highest, I'd probably give this like a solid 8.
Yeah,
like it's a very fun,
like a
7.9 out of 10. A very fun movie, not horribly in your face dumb, not offensively stupid. It's fun, it's adventurous. If you got to accept what it is. It is a fun action adventure movie, nothing more, nothing less. I don't think, I'm not a huge big ooh, you must see it on the big screen, the big theater. There's a few movies like that, but this is a movie that you can wait to see at home. It's a fun movie with people, especially. I wouldn't watch this movie by yourself.
No,
we kind of saw it in a small crowd.
But I think being out for 2 weeks or something like that, it's still fairly small crowd.
Yeah, but it had people in it, and they seem to enjoy it. So, Good movie. I liked it. What about you? What would you give it?
I thought it was a good movie too. Like I said, like 7 or 8. I mean, if you like action movies and stuff like that, just go see it in the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you said, you have a family movie night or something, just watch it.
Yeah.
When it comes out on DVD or whatever else, DirecTV, Netflix, whatnot.
Quality. See it on your iBox or whatever they have.
Yep, your iBox, your iPad in the bottom of your toilet, whatever works.
Yep.
Well, now that we're actually done with something good, let's go to the Garbage Fest.
Let's go.
I'll call it that. The Garbage Fest that we saw later in the night. Noah, would you want to open up with how your mind is coping?
Yeah. So after we had dinner after seeing the not Ghost Protocol. That's the fourth movie. The Rogue Nation. I get them confused a lot because they stopped doing numbers. It's like there was Mission Impossible 1, Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3. Now they give up. Yeah, they give up on numbers.
Like Fast and the Furious, you'll always remember because it's 7, 8.
Too fast, too furious.
There you go.
So so after seeing Rogue Nation, we had fun. We're kind of pumped up from that still.
Yep.
It's very exciting. They're like, okay, so let's go see Fant4stic because that's also it was actually opening night, right? Thursday.
Opening night, not at midnight. It was like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Everything gets cut down.
Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, for like kind of an early Thursday night showing, theater was packed.
Yeah, it was packed. Granted, we came like right at the end of the trailers, but it was pretty crowded considering there wasn't really anybody else in the rest of the theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone was gonna go see Fant4stic 4.
And everyone was there. Do you wanna open up with open scenes?
Sure. Yeah. So, well, first of all, I hated this movie.
Okay.
This movie was terrible.
So that's your stance.
Yeah, that's a fact, Nick.
What about the casting and stuff like that? Like casting.
Okay.
Plot,
well, let's
story.
Let's rewind a few months here.
Okay.
And just the movie was first announced, and they showed like the teaser trailer,
right.
and a lot of people were very hesitant, like, "Ooh, this isn't like." And also, I knew exactly what they were going for, like more serious Fant4stic 4. And I've always thought, I like comic books. I like comic book superheroes, and I like the Marvel MCU. But I've never been a fan of the Fant4stic 4. Like a huge fan. Like I know the basics. But it's a little too silly for me, Hey, I know comic books are silly.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be too serious, but there's kind of a line, and I feel that if you're gonna make a Fant4stic 4 movie, don't take it too seriously. And I thought like, okay, this is gonna be hard to pull off, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt because I saw the cast. I'm like, oh, this is a really good cast.
Yeah.
I felt, and I still feel that the movie, like they picked really good people for the roles. But ultimately, it was for nothing.
Well, all right. Well, let's go through the cast first.
Yeah,
Miles Teller.
We got Miles Teller. He's really good. In the past year or so, he's gained a lot of popularity, mostly from the movie Whiplash, which we've both seen, right? Yep. Really good movie. I actually had hipster. I'd actually seen him before he got super popular. He was in a few kind of indie dramas, and he did a really good job. And I looked at him like, yeah, this guy might go some places. And now he's made it. He's made it to the big Hollywood blockbuster superhero movie franchise.
Yep.
This is it, Miles. You've made it.
This is your life.
Enjoy it. And then we got Michael B. Jordan, who I actually am not too familiar with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really don't know too much about him.
He seems fine, though. I mean, he seems like he's a fine actor. The only movie I know him from is Chronicle, which actually, it's the same director, Josh Trank. His one and only movie prior to this was Chronicle, and I haven't seen it, but I heard good things about it. Michael B. Jordan was in it, so tell us a little bit about what you thought of Chronicle.
I thought it was okay. Like, if you want me to tell you everything, it's basically these kids get powers, and rather than some superhero movies where they learn to hone it and do good with it or evil depending on who you are. It basically spirals out of control. That's the summary of it. I wouldn't say it's a memorable movie because it was kind of out there. I took a chance on it. It was okay.
It was a promising start for a first-time director.
Yeah, definitely. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think he took a good first step in a movie. It wasn't total garbage or anything like that. So.
It sounds like it's semi-superhero film.
Yeah.
In a way, a different take on it. Sounds like. Yeah. Okay. So Michael B. Jordan. Next we got Kate Mara, which unlike Michael B. Jordan, I'm very familiar with her. She's a very good actress. I especially have seen her from Netflix TV show House of Cards she was in. Very good actress. So I thought, oh wow, what a great pick. Jamie Bell is Ben Grimm. Not too familiar with him, but he seemed good. I've seen him in a few things.
Yeah,
and again, I thought, hey, you know what?
Here and there, so.
He could work.
Yeah.
So fine. And then we got Toby Kebbell as Victor Von Doom. Rooker. And I like him a lot too. He's done a lot of mocap work, but also he's done a few, I think, live action. This is one of the first times I've seen him live action. But a good actor. He played Koba in the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes movie. He did a very good job. I really liked him.
It was a good movie.
Yeah, and he's going to be Thrall in the Warcraft movie for anyone who knows what that is. So he's getting some work just like Miles Teller. He's kind of building up some cred. And then we got like Reggie Cathy. I hope that's his name. As Dr. Storm. He's also in the House of Cards movie or TV show. So he was good. I haven't seen him other than that though.
Right.
But he's a good actor, and and Tim Blake. Oh yeah, this is interesting. Tim Blake Nelson as Dr. Allen. Although in the movie, I just thought of him as Dr. Government Man,
right?
Generic Government Man. It's kind of funny. He was in the Incredible Hulk, which is still canon in the MCU. And now he's in this movie.
But I don't believe that.
This movie is not part of the MCU. But I found it kind of like an interesting kind of coincidence. And then Tim Heidecker as Mr. Richards, who has one line of dialogue. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But apparently he was important enough to put him in the opening credit crawl.
He was hiding in there.
Yeah. He like had a hat on and glasses. Like I don't want to be embarrassed.
All right. Well, let's open up with what you thought.
Yeah, let's both talk about this. We're just gonna start from the top. Okay, we're just gonna go scene for scene in the movie. So we get in, and first kind of what was it like? Maybe like 10 minutes, maybe was the flashback sequence of when Reeds and Ben are kids. Mm-hmm. And so we open up in a classroom, I believe, and it's him. It's like show and tell, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, oh, I want to be a quantum mechanic portal man. And then the crowd laughs at him. It's like, okay, fine. And then he meets, through coincidence, Ben Grimm, who's also in his class. Mm-hmm. And together they try out the first experiment of Reed's machine, which is a portal machine.
It knocks out power to like the whole city.
Yep, knocks out power to the whole block. And then they know we're going to be friends. And so, first problem, I'm going to get right into nitpicks because I didn't like this movie at all. And this is more of a minor one. Don't cast kids in your movies when at all possible. I don't want to blame these kids. They're kids, and some kids can be good actors, but typically you don't want to have
Children of the Corn. You have to have kids in that.
You do, and luckily those are appropriately casted for the role. But the kids are like, it's a little, whatever. Okay, so I'm like, okay, fine, opening sequence, whatever. So then we immediately go to the present day. I guess they're in high school. Yeah. Even though they look like adults, whatever. So they're in a high school. It's like a school science fair,
the science fair,
and they're showing off they have a fucking portal machine, and then everyone's like, "Oh, what's this? I don't get this." Like I didn't get that. Like you can create portals, man, and you can send things to like Mars or whatever.
Yeah,
and you haven't made $1 million yet already. No one's
the booth of the kid and his fucking airplanes that he has.
Yeah. So I thought it's a little strange that they haven't caught any again realism. This movie's not realistic at all. Whatever. So they meet Dr. Storm and Sue Storm, and they're saying, "Hey kid, you got a nice machine there. Why don't you join us in our?" They never quite maybe I just missed it, but I never knew what he went to. At first I'm like, oh, it's a school because he's getting a scholarship.
Right.
But he never goes to class.
Right.
All he does is work in a laboratory to create the portal. I was so confused. Like, what is this?
Like, he gets there, like, Ben drops him off. He's like, I'll never see you again, feller. And it's like, you live 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
So it's like, he gets there. Like, there's one scene where he walks across the hallway and, like, looks at a bunch of trophies. And then, like, he's instantly starting to build this machine and, like, meets everybody.
Yeah.
And then it goes from there.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else.
Yeah, no, this is building science stuff, the movie.
Yeah.
This movie has a running time of 100 minutes. which is a little
a little shorter.
A little on the shorter side, but man, does it feel longer.
Oh.
Because, like, I'd say, like, a good, like, oh my god, like, 35% of this movie is just, like, building science stuff.
Basically, it was a lot of building, and I know that a lot of people were like, I don't want an origin story that takes forever.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like in the other two, where you kind of have to build up.
Yeah.
But I think that one probably did a little bit better than this Fantastic Four movie. And like you said, they spend a good portion, 35-40% of the movie, building the thing.
Building, yeah.
Just building.
And then later rebuilding it.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later, yeah. But very, very strange. So, yeah, so he gets in, and then he meets Sue, and then obviously there's, you know, that kind of romantic element there. But it seems a little forced to me. Like, you kind of like... and this part of the movie, I'm still on board. I was still on board a little bit.
Okay? I was still definitely on board.
So, I kind of... One thing I did like is, like, Reed Richards... He's kind of like a really super nice, like, awkward guy, kind of a nerdy. So he's, like, very clean cut, wears nice shirts and whatnot. And he seems like a little awkward with Sue. And so she's like, I'm listening to music because I can detect patterns or something. Helps me think because of patterns. There's patterns and everything. That really, really does not pay off later, man. That was lame. But
so we have that right there, and then we go to Johnny drag racing.
Oh yeah, so in one of like the strangest scenes in the movie, but ultimately we didn't know this, one of the most exciting scenes in the movie,
probably one of the better,
which was the race, this car race. So yeah, we meet Johnny, and he's just in a crappy little Toyota, and he's deciding, and so just like I'm gonna be in a like kind of impromptu, like we don't know the stakes, like who are these guys? He's just racing.
What are they racing for? They're just racing.
He gets in a wreck. He breaks his arm, and then he has to have his dad, Dr. Storm, pick him up, and then they have like a very kind of serious character scene, like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Johnny, you gotta shape up.
Johnny boy, you want your car back? You come work for me.
Yeah, and also that seemed really kind of lame, like, oh, I'm gonna have this
and then
he's
kid.
There. Yeah, he's just there. And also, yeah, he's just there, and immediately he starts getting along with Reed Richards. Now this is I'm a screenwriting student, and kind of one of the first things, yeah, I'm totally qualified.
Brag about it.
I know more than any of these hacks that Hollywood do. Anyways, but kind of like screenwriting 101, you want to create conflict.
Right.
And again, this movie is so crazy because it makes the first two look good in comparison, which nobody thought that. Like when I went in, I'm like, oh well, at least it can't go any lower. Well,
you were wrong.
Surprise.
They had conflict. It was Victor.
Yes. No, but they had conflict with each other, which is very important because Fantastic Four is a team, and so usually when they all meet together, they don't really quite get along. So I was thinking, oh, Johnny's going to be he's going to be kind of grinding along.
He's going to be the guy that's kind of like there reluctantly and really doesn't care. But out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, he's like, hey, nice to meet you.
He's like, I don't like Victor. Hey, Reed, I like you. What do you need help with, bud? He's like, you know how to weld? He's like, of course.
Yeah, and then the very there's a transition where he's like he's walking along and he has a broken arm and a cast. Very next cut, his cast is off. And I'm like, what? His cast is off?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been like 2 minutes.
It's been like 2 minutes. Okay.
Better. He welded his arm back.
Okay, strange, but whatever. And then, we've also, by this point, we've introduced Victor Von Doom, which this movie, apparently I did a little research, got a lot of reshoots. And among some of the things in the original script, his name wasn't Victor Von Doom, it was Victor Doomschlav or something like that. And the fans didn't like that, so they changed it.
No.
And ultimately it was pointless, but because he's not Victor Von Doom. So I never quite got, Victor Von Doom was like the protege of Dr. Storm. And Dr. Storm in the board meeting was like, I need Victor Von Doom. And he's like, you don't need him. He hacked into your servers or something like that. He's crazy. And they never really do establish why they need him because Reed is better.
Because he started it.
Reed proves himself to be better at it.
Yeah.
So why need him? So it's just an excuse to have Victor Von Doom in the movie. And so he visits him and he's like a weird recluse who's on computer screens.
Playing TF2 or something.
He's something like that. No, he's not even that cool. But yeah, and so he has a million computer screens on, and he's like, I don't like the people because the planet. Yeah. And so he should have been, the villain in this movie wasn't Victor Von Doom, it was Captain Planet. because he's like, really, he's like a weirdo environmentalist dude. He's like, just humans destroying the world. I hate them. It's like, okay, whatever. So whatever. Lame excuse to bring Victor Von Doom in, and so the only one who's not part of the party right now is Ben Grimm because he's just off doing nothing. We see hide nor hair of him. Yeah, we don't see him at all actually. So whatever. And so that gives us like a 20-minute long series of scenes
montage
of building science stuff.
And then voila, they're done.
Yeah. And also, the funny thing, the way that they reveal that it's done, there's no scene where it's like they're building, we gotta.
They're just on computers.
No, they're just typing on computers.
Flirting.
Yeah, and like vaguely forced flirting. And then Victor glares. I'm like, hey, Reed, come here.
That's unprofessional.
You're being unprofessional. And then Reed is like, oh, by the way, the machine's done. Like, what? Oh. It's just like he's so casual about it. He's not like, yes, we did it. The machine's finally done. There's no excitement. He's just like, oh, okay, we finished the machine.
Tell Dr. Storm the machine's finished. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah.
And walks off. It's like, okay, cool.
End scene. And also,
and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, we have to get NASA in on this and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what? And then they go drinking and it goes from there. Take it.
Now this, leading up, everything before going to Planet Zero, I guess what it is called.
Right.
Planet Zero.
Like, I was on board for this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I almost, in a way, I was kind of like in this part of the movie, I'm like, okay, it's been kind of slow, but they're going to get their powers. Okay, This is going to be exciting. And I was okay. I almost, in a way, kind of liked the part of, like, it's kind of a lame excuse, like, oh, we're not going to be remembered if we don't go there first. But I liked the idea that they're a bunch of drunk kids. Yeah. And they just get drunk and they're like, let's just go in. Let's just go through. I kind of like that. But he just invites Ben. He's like, hey, Ben.
He invites Ben because Ben's been his home slice and helped him start this. So he's like, hey, Ben, I need you to
get in my science
here
machine
at 3 a.m. and go to a different dimension.
And then everyone else is fine with that. Like, hey, let's just bring some guy along.
Everyone is drunk. And they're like, hey, Ben. Get in the machine, damn it.
Get in my science machine now. So they go to Planet Zero. And it's a boring, weird desert planet with green goo.
Yep.
And so they say, oh, they plant the flag, and then they should have just been like, okay, we're first, let's leave. And then they're like, no, we must go towards the green goo.
Curiosity.
For no reason. And so they climb down this cliff, and then Victor just sticks his hand in, like, what looks like green fucking lava for some reason.
Looks like slime from Nickelodeon.
And I never imagined that screenwriters would be able to create a goo that was more confusing than the black goo from Prometheus.
Right.
Like in Prometheus, you don't know what the fuck that black goo is. In this movie, they never explain what this green goo is.
No idea.
So like they touch the green goo, or Victor touches the green goo. He gets sucked in, and then it starts like erupting everywhere.
Shit happens.
Yep. And so they go through, but of course, something goes wrong and they get their powers. But it's funny, like it was like surprisingly similar to the first movie how they got their powers, where it's like slow motion.
Yeah.
And then you see like Johnny get hit by fire.
Yep.
You see Reed like stretching or something.
Yep.
You see Ben get hit by rocks. Yep. It was really strangely similar.
Yeah,
to the first
because it's
movie.
like, oh, whatever this is, it's erupting. We have to get back up the cliff, and Victor's like, help me, Reed, and then he falls in. We're like, oh no, I wonder who you'll be.
Yeah.
And then they're all trying to get back in it, and then Sue's all the way on Earth, like, you motherfuckers. And like you said, like a bunch of random rocks are starting to pelt Ben.
For some reason,
he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like a microburst, like explodes inside Johnny's cabinet. Well, I wonder who he's gonna be.
Yeah.
And then Reed's reaching for the door. The lamest excuse ever.
I know. It's just I'm reaching.
Yeah, and then they
teleport
it back.
And Sue just gets hit by energy. And
gets hit by a giant shockwave of energy, and then she starts like going invisible. Right? It's like, what are you gonna be?
And so
the biggest plot twist of this, it's like, no, Johnny's not the adopted one. Sue is. Take that, people who think that the black guy's adopted. No, he's the main son. Get over it. Yeah. There's diversity in this movie.
This movie's got diversity. This movie's got it all, Nick.
But then they have that, and then they're like, all right, this is going to be like a government, like, figure out powers montage. And we went into that.
No montage. They just skipped that. So, yeah, so Reed...
Well, it's like, let's experiment on them.
Yeah, so Reed wakes up, and it looks like a Saw movie.
Yeah.
And then he just climbs through the vents. And then he sees Ben and Brun's big rock monster now.
And he's sitting there crying, bawling his eyes out.
Yep, and then Reed just leaves. So Reed, in the middle of like a snowstorm, in the middle of like Iceland or some crap, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna run away.
Yep.
And then we skip to a year later, so we've
Yeah.
completely skipped a huge amount of time. We don't see them kind of learn about their powers.
Nope, we see Johnny on fire, Sue invisible, and Reed scraping his ball sack against a bench grate, and then runs off. It's like 1 year later, and we're like, okay.
It's like, okay.
All right.
Like, in...
Skip.
Like, hey, was
1 year.
this a movie you wanted to see? Skip
1 year.
That'd be too expensive, Nick. And so we see it, and now like they're working for the government, and then Ben Grimm's like killing terrorists or something. So boring. This is when the movie completely falls apart.
Yeah.
This is when slowly it starts unraveling, and it just falls apart. And so Reed is in Central America in disguise, and apparently he can change his face in like one of the worst CGI transitions ever when he's changing his face.
Beautiful.
It was awful. It was like.
Amazing.
Also, the CGI monkey. There's a lot of bad
that CGI
special
monkey
effects.
Was shit.
There's a lot of bad special effects in this movie for like a big, supposedly big budget Hollywood movie. It looked like crap. Yeah, and then the movie becomes super unengaging. They just kind of mope around, like, you know, a lot of like the conflict is that Dr. Storm doesn't want Johnny to go work for the military.
And Johnny's all gung ho, like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then Ben's like, I'll do it if you could help me figure it out. And then when he's not fighting terrorists or whoever, he's sitting there in his room moping about, like, I hate you, Reed Richards. Hey, Ben, I have a job for you. I need you to go find Reed. We know where he is.
Because Sue was able to find patterns because she likes to listen to music.
I just need some music, guys.
Like, I need music. That was so... Also, the second half of the movie, almost every scene there was like a groaner in it. There's a groaner moment.
And... speaking of the Thing going to go find Reed Richards, that was the very first action scene that we actually had. Is when the military guys, when they fell down in the forest to capture Reed, and he starts throwing them around, stuff like that. That was the very first action sequence of the movie. We're already
more than halfway.
We're already like 40 minutes into this movie.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. That was actually the first
real action sequence that lasts like a minute.
Yeah.
And it's really unengaging because, like, what's interesting about superhero movies is I like to watch them gain their powers and experiment. Like, oh, what's this? Oh, I can create flames. I can stretch my arm. No fun allowed.
Combed right over that.
Skip it, man. And so Reach is like, oh, I can stretch now. You know. Yep. And then Ben just headbutts him, and then they get on a plane.
Yep.
And so there's a quick, brief moment where Ben's like, I'm upset at you because you made me into Rock Monster.
Yep.
And then Reed's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yep. And then they just send him to the military base, and it's just like, and then Johnny's just like, oh, hi, how's it going?
Yeah, what's up,
like there's
what's up, bud? Like,
there's no conflict. They're just like, whoa, hey,
they're
whatever.
Okay, and then Sue's just kind of like
whatever. And then Ben never voices his problem with Reed at all for the rest of the movie. For the rest of the movie, they never have a scene talking about him dealing with the fact that he's a rock monster. At least in the first movie, there was a lot of time dedicated to him. You know, like he loses his fiance, and he like gives up. Everyone thinks he's a freak, and they're pointing at him and looking at him.
Except for this one
and
female.
The
kind of gets past. Well, she's blind, so she doesn't really get past his looks. But
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and so there's actually character there.
Absolutely.
And they try to make you feel bad for him.
And you actually get, like, a relationship in the other Fantastic movies, as were this one. Like, he flirts with her at the computer, and she was like, haha. And that was it.
That was it.
I think that was the only, like, relation, like, sexual part in the movie. That was it. There was nothing else.
I think, the one other time when they're just, like, talking at a computer screen about nothing, and it was, like, really forced and awkward.
And Victor's staring
and that was it.
Like,
and that was it. So there's nothing else.
There's the conflict.
There's no...
And then they're like, we need Reed back so he can fix, like, the 3 things that are wrong with it. And he's like, oh, it'll take me 10 minutes. 2 seconds later, we're like, oh, we fixed it. Let's go.
Okay. Like, and then this is... And, like, we start entering the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Before we know it.
Yeah, before we even know it. And so, immediately, government people come back to... Planet Zero, what they call it, because they want to militarize their powers or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Superhuman soldiers.
And then, coincidentally, Victor just happens to be strolling through that area of the planet.
What?
And he somehow got a green cape. What? Now, this kind of really immediately distracted me. So he apparently, the green lava fused the suit to him, and that's his metal face or whatever. Right. But he also has a green cloak. Like, where did he get that?
I honestly think, after looking at all of it, besides, like, why did you make this movie, That was the biggest question. How the fuck did you get that green cape? Like, where? There's nothing. We don't see anything unless if his magic powers allows him to make Gucci Armani hoods or whatever. Mm-hmm. How did he get it?
I don't know.
He just got it.
He just got it, and he's like stumbling around, and he's also been there for a year, I guess. Yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, what a coincidence. We got to get him back. And so they take him back, and he lets them take him back, although we learn later that he didn't want to go back, so why would you let them? It made no sense. This is when the movie starts falling apart. The Tim Blake Nelson character, Mr. Government Man, says, I got to interrogate this guy. None of you can. But it's funny, they have him on like a dissection bed or table or something, and he's talking to him. And then also in the observation room, none of the people are actually there, because none of the Fantastic Four people are there. Because there's a bunch of scientist people looking there. They're all going to die. But don't you think they'd be at least curious to take a look and be a part of that? No. They were somewhere else.
They were somewhere else. They weren't told about whatever.
And so then we got Victor, who looks like a stupid green alien thing. He looked ridiculous.
Basically,
this was crazy. He's like, that planet was my home for some reason. I don't like you, so I'm going back.
Yeah, I want to create my own world in my image, and literally starts braining people.
Yeah, he's apparently he got psychic powers or something, so he just starts exploding people's brains. Yeah. And he's just walking through this place, just killing everyone. And then it's so awkward to see the Fantastic Four. They're just kind of disinterested. They're just walking around,
stumbling through the dark corridors of bodies.
Yeah, and they're just what's going on, huh?
Oh, yeah.
They don't even look surprised. They're just walking around what's with all these dead people?
What's going on?
Did I just walk into an action sequence? And so Dr. Storm gets killed in a very comical way. I laughed when he got brained. So when he fell, he was trying to convince Victor, no, you're still a person. He goes cross-eyed and then just flops to the ground. It was just silly. And so their dad just died. And oh no, our dad. And
Johnny's mad.
But he doesn't seem mad during the climax. He's not like, you killed my father or anything like that. They don't even talk about it again. They're just like, oh, he's dead now. Okay, well, let's go into the portal.
It's no, Dad, we need to go get him.
And so they're kind of working as a team without any prior experience or training.
Nothing.
They've never worked together like this before, but they're just like, bam, we know this.
Yep.
So they go to Planet Zero, which is a boring desert planet, and they're fighting Doctor Doom, this is when it starts falling apart. Now, this is the climax of the movie. We don't know that.
We have no idea.
We don't know that. We're like, oh, this is kind of we're a little after halfway through the movie. Yeah. And so, this is our final act. This is the final battle, and this is crazy. Okay, so Doctor Doom gives some stupid reason. I'm going to destroy the world, and for no reason. Really, for no good reason.
You're back on your own planet. You make it what you want.
It's I've been here for a year, but I didn't do anything while I was here.
The Earth, this planet gives me powers and nutrition and a cloak.
Yeah. I got a good thing going here, guys.
I need to destroy Earth.
And so
cause a black hole in the middle of a military base
or something. Who knows?
I don't know.
And so Reed can't. He wears this suit that he made so he doesn't fall apart.
Yep.
And there's a scene in this final battle where his suit falls apart. And he flops on the ground, and then it seems like the lowest moment. Yeah. And then he just gets up. He just okay, now I can use my powers. He just gets up, and they just kill. They disintegrate Doctor Doom.
Yep, they have an action sequence where they're like, let's get him. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. We can't beat him separately, so we have to fight him together. And so they have this action sequence of Johnny, use your flame balls, and then I'll put a force field around him. And it's that kind of worked. Reed, punch him in the face. That really didn't work. Oh, I'm going to turn the thing invisible, and then he'll appear, and obviously, it's clobbering time.
Yep.
And then punches him into the bottom of the pit, or whatever, and then Johnny's like, I'm going to smash my way through these rocks and reverse it to send to nowhere, and then Doctor Doom gets picked up, and he instantly gets disintegrated.
Yeah.
When he goes right through it, there's nothing else. That was it.
That's it.
And then they're like, we need to go back through the wormhole before it closes, so they fly back.
So they just fly back. There's no tension at all. There's not like, oh, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it.
No, they literally nonchalantly just fly.
Just like, okay,
back
let's just fly back. Like it was insane. And also, this whole climax is like not even 7 minutes.
I feel like basically like the fighting part of it, like an actual physical fight, was literally 3 minutes. Like the other 4 minutes was like their dad dying, and then like when they go back through the wormhole, like that was the other 4 minutes.
Yeah. And there's no stakes at all. They're just fighting on a boring planet, and then vaguely the Earth is in trouble or something. I don't know. Even though it would take like
forever.
It would take forever to suck the whole planet.
Well, yeah, considering the fact that it only sucked up that military base, and the scene was 4 minutes long. Yeah, it would have taken a while.
Yeah, it would have taken a while. So there wasn't a big rush, and plus they were in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
So.
And then, like you said, they have their triumphant music at the end, even though hundreds of people died.
They look over this giant crater where this military base used to be, and there's like super like triumphant music, like everyone in this military base is dead. Ooh. Our dad is dead, and they don't talk about it. Like Sue doesn't get upset or Johnny doesn't get upset. Like our dad's dead. Don't talk about it. Nope. This movie, and then they just rush it to the very end. So they get hired by someone. I think it's the military. It's some group.
Yeah, but they wanted to work under their own.
You're gonna work for us now. No, we're gonna work for ourselves. Yeah, and like, what are you gonna be working on exactly? Are you gonna make another fucking portal? Like, the movie just falls apart. And then
say yes.
Yeah, say yes. Oh. Yeah, and also this whole time, like the whole climax, I was just groaning. I was like covering my face, like, no, this isn't happening.
This isn't the end of the movie.
This isn't the end of the movie.
It can't happen.
And it was. And also, this movie was supposed to be like the more realistic take, but then it gets super corny and campy at the end. Like,
right at the very end.
Yeah, when they're like talking about what are we gonna call ourselves? What do you think, gang? What are we gonna call ourselves? And then Ben's like, I don't know, but I feel fantastic. Wait, Ben, what did you just say?
I said, I feel fantastic. Wait, I got it. Where the...
And then end credits.
Cut. Yeah. End credits.
And
then we waited for the end.
Yeah, we waited like... here's what I was expecting. Us in the majority of the theater, and also the theater did not like this movie. I don't think anyone did.
Instantly when those credits started rolling, people started just leaving.
People were leaving, although the majority of us did stay, like a little over half, maybe just stayed just in case for. And what I was expecting is, I'm like, okay, they're just gonna have like some shitty, half-assed, lame excuse for an end credit sequence, and it's gonna piss us off. No, they were so lazy. There is no post-credit sequence, so us and over half the theater stayed for nothing. And then I was upset, and I booed the movie.
Yep.
And people in the audience were laughing. People agreed. Yep. Other people were really upset. Yep. So the audience clearly did not like it.
Like, I would have preferred 20th Century Fox to just have like a big hand with the middle finger on it at the very end.
That's what I was expecting.
I would have preferred that than nothing.
I was expecting like Dr. Doom's hand coming from a portal and like, oh.
Too late. He's disintegrated. Yeah, he's disintegrated. We can't go back to that.
No, one of the most iconic Marvel villains.
Time to pick another Fantastic Four villain that nobody knows of. Yeah. Or basically really doesn't.
Dr. Doom wasn't even a doctor. He was not Dr. Doom. He's like, I am Doom. Wow. It was so like, it's bad when the other movie got Dr. Doom better than this movie.
Well, and like I said, everyone, like I wanted this movie to succeed and everything like that, and we were saying like it can't be worse than the other two. It was worse, and everyone's like, "Wow, really? This is what they did?" Like I would prefer to go see the other two movies than this.
Yeah, exactly. Like if anything, they've done something miraculous. They've made people want to see the other two Fantastic Four movies.
And now I'll probably go watch it.
Yeah, because now I'm like it was like a bad dream. The next morning when I woke up, I'm like, oh god, I had a horrible dream that there was an even worse Fantastic Four movie.
Oh wait, there was.
There was.
I just saw it.
It was.
And that's why we only saw one movie that night. It was Mission Impossible.
Yeah, no, this was like a 100-minute trailer.
Yeah.
A bad 100-minute like rough cut trailer.
Trying to take itself too seriously because the Fantastic Four is more of a colorful group of characters, not too serious, but you have Ben moping around and sexual, in parentheses, sexual tension, and
very strange sexual tension.
And then I have the analogies of it's basically Miles Teller driving his balls against the grate, and it's like you have a birthday party and you invite a lot of people and nobody showed up. That's how I felt at the end of this movie. Like I felt empty. confused, like lonely.
Yeah.
I honestly, at the end of it, I was trying to think to myself, it's like, what other movie have I seen recently made me feel like I didn't know what to think. I was just kind of like, did I really just see that?
Yeah.
And that's how this movie felt.
This is not only the worst movie I've seen this year. This is one of the worst movies I've seen in general.
Yeah.
Definitely the worst superhero movie I've seen. I'm like including Batman and Robin.
Right.
At least Batman and Robin, you can watch it and it's fun to make fun of like how bad it is and like the corny like the Arnold lines and everything like that. This movie had nothing.
Yeah, and sometimes we'd be like, sure, it wasn't the greatest movie, but like we were talking about like Jurassic World or Transformers. If you want to see dumb giant robots fight, that's Transformers. If you want to see dumb giant dinosaurs fight, that's Jurassic World. Yeah. Like, and you would get
at least it has something.
Yeah, and you would be like, oh, I enjoyed just the dumb and turning my brain off this movie. Yeah. I did not feel that in this movie.
There's no fun. There's nothing happens.
There was no fun. It was just like, oh, we want your money, and we just wanted to make this movie so we can keep the Fantastic Four out of Marvel's hands.
Yeah, this is clearly, they're just trying to keep the rights to the movie. So they're like, let's just make this movie as cheaply and quickly as possible. And well, there's also, let's get into, of course, none of these things are confirmed. This is just stuff that's on the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But there's been a few rumors plaguing this movie since its production that the director, Josh Trank, like showed up on set drunk and would like trash the sets, and some days wouldn't show up to work. He went on Twitter and basically committed career suicide by saying, "Oh, the studio messed with my movie. They ruined my movie." So he's not going to get any work anytime soon.
And this was only like a few hours after like the national release of the movie, and he's already on Twitter fighting fans and.
No, like you don't do that. You don't
hitting himself in a corner.
You don't diss your own movie, and you don't blame the studio. Like, so he's definitely never going to work with Fox again. I don't think he's ever going to work with another big studio ever again. Right. Because now they know he's poisoned. Like, oh, if the movie doesn't turn out good, you're just going to blame us. Right. So he's done. So whether or not it was the studio messing with him or him acting unprofessional, maybe a mixture of both. Maybe. Because apparently, people who worked on the set were saying that he was being very unprofessional and strange.
Yeah, so you kind of have both sides, and he's like, oh, you would have never seen my Fantastic Four movie because of Fox, and they wanted to go with this. Yeah. And so you have two different stories.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't show up to work, because it seems like this movie didn't have a director. Right. And also there's a lot of like I said, reshoots. Yeah. And so that's never a good sign.
Yeah, and I mean.
Also, just a poor script. At the end of the day, a bad script.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, I feel bad for anybody that goes see this movie and wastes their time on it. Like, if you enjoy the movie, that's your preference. But, like, I also feel bad for these actors, too, because a lot of them are really up and coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like Miles Teller. I felt really embarrassed for him. Like, oh, gosh, like, Miles Teller, you're a talented actor. I'm really sorry, man. Kate Mara, sorry. Great actors and everything, but... That's how it goes. Also, another thing about the credit scene, or not the credit scene. There wasn't a credit scene, but just the credits. That at the very end, they had all the big names: Miles Teller, Kate Mara. At the very end, it was Tim Heidecker.
He's hiding.
And I'm a fan of him, and I was so distracted when I saw him. I'm like, wait, is that Tim Heidecker?
Yep.
And he literally only has like one line in the entire movie.
That was it.
And he's just there for 5 seconds. I think that maybe. He had like more scenes because he was supposed to be, I guess, the bad stepfather, but they never show that.
He was like basically the Stan Lee of this movie.
Yeah, it was the strangest cameo ever, and it was just baffling. I'm a fan of Tim Heidecker, so I'm like, I just have to talk about that. Looks like his pal Greg Turkington, aka Neil Hamburger, he got the better superhero cameo in Ant-Man, which Ant-Man was a far superior film to this. We saw Ant-Man as well.
Absolutely, and it kind of goes to the thing where we talk about like overhyped movies, underhyped movies, and like with Age of Ultron, like I felt it was so overhyped. So when we went to go see it, it kind of weighed on us. So we didn't think it was as good as with like Ant-Man. It was underhyped, and then when we saw it, it was really good. Yeah. And then, like, we tried to with Fantastic Four, like, we saw the trailers and stuff on it. We're like, we won't try and judge it. Yeah. We'll be unbiased. and that's what we did.
Yeah, I didn't want to hate this movie.
No, absolutely
of course
not. And then at the
it.
end of the day, us and a lot of people online and over the world really don't like it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone liked this movie. I don't think anyone. Yeah. This movie is also bombing really hard, by the way. Its opening weekend did really bad, and now that all this bad buzz is going around, it's definitely not going to make its money back. The budget was $120 million. As of right now, it's only made $11 million. So, and that's open, and that was a really poor opening weekend for it. So it's a tank. It's tanking hard, and this I think a lot of the studios, Josh Trank. It's tranking. This could be that. Maybe that's a new term that the studio is going to call.
We tranked that hard.
We really just fucked that up. We tranked it. And also, Josh Trank, Chronicle was fine, but there's kind of this weird trend going on. I've noticed of like taking small indie directors who don't have a huge amount of experience, and then like sending them to do big Hollywood blockbusters. Like the most recent one was like Jurassic World. I forget the director's name, but he's kind of a smaller indie director. I'm just like, why are they getting... And I have no problem with that. I like small indie movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you getting these inexperienced dudes to direct these big budgeted Hollywood movies?
And I mean, some of them do work out more than others. Yeah. Fantastic Four, no. Jurassic World, it worked.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. And I mean, it broke records.
Yeah,
but
I was surprised by that.
But maybe not like every indie director should have a big name thing. And I guess it depends on who it is and what the movie is.
Of course, it depends. But that's just something I've noticed that I find interesting. But Fant4stic, if I could describe this movie in one word, it's baffling. I was utterly shocked, confused, saddened. I felt hollow. This movie had no soul. At least you could say the other two movies, they had some bits of actual real humanity in them.
Yeah.
And they were actually trying to tell a story, even though they told them very poorly. Yeah. Not nearly as bad as this movie. So Nick, what would you say about...
Reed and Sue didn't even kiss at the end or anything. I don't even...
We'll see that in the sequel, Nick.
Oh, we're not...
There's not going to be a sequel.
I'm not going to go see it.
There won't be a sequel. Okay, I guarantee you. They're not going to make a sequel.
Like, I would give it a chance, but I don't want to, so...
I wouldn't.
I already judged this movie, so that's it.
I think one horrible movie is enough for me.
Yeah. There's plenty of other superhero movies and stuff like that so many MCU, Sony, unfortunately.
Poor Stan Lee, by the way.
Poor Stan Lee.
He had to live to see this. Because, Fantastic Four, that's like the original... Marvel comic book series. Yeah. I think that's like among the first.
One of the first ones.
Yeah, one of the first ones. And Doctor Doom is his favorite character that he's written, his favorite villain.
He just got to see
and he unfortunately I don't think is going to live to see another reboot that actually does the movie justice.
I don't want to see another reboot.
No.
Like now we're at a point where it's like I don't want to see anymore. Like sure for some movies it works like Batman where you have the different takes of Batman, but like we had like the 2004 Fantastic Four. We have this one. I don't want to see another one soon. Like I said, DC, Marvel, Sony, 20th Century, like all superhero movies and stuff like that. There's so many other avenues you can go. Like yes, Fantastic Four are one of the most recognizable superheroes and groups. There's so many other things you can do.
Yeah, but Nick,
and I mean like.
They thought they were going to make money because everyone knows of Fantastic Four. Come on, that's money in the bank.
And I mean, for some people it would work, and it's like they might just not be good at the superhero movies, or nobody's really interested in it. Like they did perfect with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Was that the?
That was the second one.
Which one came out?
There's Rise. There's Rise, and then there's Dawn.
Okay.
And those movies are great.
Yeah, and they did really good with those.
Yeah.
But just missed their mark with this one.
So whether or not it was studio, interfering, or if it was Trank, who knows? But there is one thing that I know: this movie is awful.
Yep.
Terrible. See it.
It made me feel empty.
Yeah, it just left bad taste in your mouth. It's just really terrible.
I wanted to go drink some bleach.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's like, what other movie have I seen that's really made me like? I really lost like all sense of being.
A movie that had no redeeming qualities.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Even bad movies, that movie.
Yeah.
But even bad movies can have some, like Batman and Robin, like at least you can laugh at it because
Yeah,
it's
you
so
can at least
bad.
have a redeeming quality.
Yeah,
This,
nothing.
no.
Nothing.
M. Night Shyamalan, thanks for shitting on Avatar, one of my most favorite TV shows.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonder if he directed this movie. No.
No, because there's not a bunch of weird castings. He actually casted good people.
Yeah, no, this movie was again casted well. It had that's a frustrating thing. This movie like had everything going for it.
Yeah.
You know, like casting wise and like budget wise. Like, oh, okay, I'm willing to give this a shot.
Nope. And at the end of the day, they suffered. I feel bad for the actors and actresses because, you know, most of it is story and directing and writing and stuff like that. So they did their job.
And it's also sad. I'm reading quotes like of them like straight up lying about like Toby Kebbell had to say like, oh my god, my Doctor Doom is very complex and very tragic character. It's like, no, there's nothing there.
I didn't feel tragic for him at all.
He wasn't a character.
He wasn't complex except for how the fuck did he get a cape? That
Well,
was the only complex thing I figured out.
Yeah, like how the hell did he make a cape on this?
I want to ask him that. I want to get him on the phone and ask him how they got the cape. I want it explained.
Yep. End of the day, Rogue Nation gets a thumbs up.
Yep. Definitely.
Fant4stic. No, don't see this movie.
Fant4stic. We only saw one movie that night. It was Mission Impossible.
That's the only movie we saw.
Yep.
Everything else, just bad dream.
Nothing else happened, I swear.
No.
I really felt like somebody touched me, and I really didn't appreciate it. That was Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. Molesting you since 2015.
Yep.
Well, thank you, everyone. The 5 people who are listening to this, listening all the way through.
Thanks for listening, Mom.
Yep. Now, this is our first time trying out a podcast. Obviously, there might be a few kind of noises in the background. Our setup is kind of primitive right now. Our microphone has a glove on it just to stop the noise coming through. Yeah, very high class. So if you liked what you just listened to, let us know. We'd really appreciate it if you have any suggestions or anything like that.
Definitely, we're open. We're pretty much open for anything.
We're game. So yeah, we'll in the future if we do this again, we'll talk about more movies. We'll talk about we like to play video games.
Yeah, different stuff like that. You never know.
Anything. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, guys. I'm Nick.
And I'm Noah.
And you have a splendid